What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the 2 Minute Warning Podcast. Today, we're going to be giving our top 30 players in 2030, our predictions, and then in 5 years, we're going to look back on this, see how we did, see how much the league has shaken up since then, and let's just jump right into it. Let's start with our honorable mentions. I'll let you kick us off. I think we each have like 7 or 8 honorable mentions to get the list started, so go ahead.
All right, so I got some older receivers on here. CeeDee Lamb, he's gonna be 31. I'd say he's probably right now like the 30th. I don't know, maybe outside the top 30 still in right now, but he's gonna be a good player for his whole career, and I think this is like right when he's gonna start to fall off. So I think he'll still be up there. Then I got Nico Collins. He's gonna be 30. His game could age like Mike Evans, but like better maybe. I don't. They're similar players. Mike Evans is like 33 right now?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Then I got Trent McDuffie. I just doubt. I don't think he'll ever be a top 30 player, but I think he'll always be like a top 50 player, if that makes sense. I don't think he's ever going to be like a superstar.
I think he is a top 30 player right now, but we'll talk about him in a little bit. He's on my list, so.
Okay. And then I got Walter Nolan, who
I thought you were going to put him on.
No, I was going to, but there's so many good players in like 5 years. There's me so many good players.
Young talent's crazy right now.
So, and then I got Travion Henderson in my honorable mentions.
Good answer.
27. It's like right before running backs fall off. Jaden Daniels is not on here also. He's going to be 29, I think. So, I mean, he's a lot older than most people think. And he'll probably lose a step at least by then. Yeah. Just because he's going to be taking so many hits and he's like 190 pounds. So
yeah, for sure.
And my last one, would be number 31, is Lad McConkey. I really wanted to put him on here, but like there are so many good young talent in the NFL today.
I didn't even put him on my honorable mentions. It's not because I don't think he's an amazing player, but like you said, there's just too many players. Like, you had to leave some people off. Yeah, so for my honorable mentions, I have a couple of the sames. I've got Travion Henderson on there, and then I've just got a ton of quarterbacks that are really young, but I think will break out. It's just will they break out to a top 30 player, or will it just be like a really good quarterback, that type of thing. So I just kind of threw him in the honorable mentions to be safe. I've got Nix to throw respect on him. May, because I think he's a great quarterback. Penix, because I think he's so unbelievably underrated. We can talk about him for a little bit if you want to. I love Penix as a player. And then I got Jaden Daniels because of his historic rookie season. And then I threw Walter Nolan in there because, like you really like him and stuff. And, I got to put some respect on him. But I feel like you don't see too many DTs in the top 30. I already have a couple in there. So I was like, I'm going to leave him outside. And then finally, I threw in Mason Graham, because I think Mason Graham could be a really, really good player. But it's more of like he's going to be like his ceiling's 30 to 40, not really a top 30 player. Yeah. So I didn't end up putting him on there. But so many good players, like you said. And I'm excited to see who's on your top 30 list, because obviously we had to throw in a couple of players that aren't in the NFL right now. And there's obviously going to be more in the top 30 than what we predict, because it's so hard to look at college players. But we made sure to throw a couple in here to make it interesting. So do you want to start us off, or do you have anything to say about the honorable mentions before we get going?
I'm just curious about Michael Penix.
Uh-oh.
I mean, him this high, like, you love Bo Nix.
Yeah.
And he's in the honorable mentions with him.
The reason is, so I only have, I think, 3 quarterbacks on my list. I think it's really hard as a quarterback for me to put you top 30, because quarterbacks hold so much positional value, and that's the main reason that they get boosted up, I feel like, in any ranking. But if you're looking at it as a player as a whole, especially in today's league, I don't think there's that many quarterbacks that actually are in my top 30 players, because there's so much talent outside of the quarterback position. And I think that with how much talent we see outside of the quarterback position that's young, it's going to continue to be that way even if the quarterbacks improve, because I think that the players around them are going to continue improving. And so I think that even though I love Bo Nix, I love Michael Penix, I love Drake May, like all these guys that are really, really good, even if they're franchise guys, I could see a couple of these guys being top 5 in the league and still not making my top 30. Like, that's the type of talent that I see in the league today. And so it's not a disrespect thing to them. It's more of like, I just can't justify putting you over these amazing players that are ahead of you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense for you, since you don't like boosting quarterbacks up just because they play quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, in the general public eye right now, I'm trying to think about how many would be top 30.
Oh, yeah, it's probably a lot.
It's at least 5, maybe more.
I mean, it's Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Burrow.
Daniels would be in there.
Probably Daniels, and I guarantee some people would say Hurts. I guarantee.
Yeah.
But like, this is my list ultimately.
Yeah.
I'm gonna like I just ultimately think like yes, I would take these quarterbacks if these quarterbacks are as good as I think they're going to be. I would take them over someone if I was doing a draft. However, if you're talking about best overall player, like best in the league right now, in my opinion, is Saquon Barkley last season. He was the best player in the league last season. Is he the most valuable player? Are you taking him number one for a season? Definitely not. But he's still the best player in the league. And so I think those are two different things. And as for Penix, I think Penix is so unbelievably underrated. We talked about this in our last episode, but I really think Penix showcased a lot in just 3 games. If you actually watch the film instead of just watch the stats, because the stats don't look incredible with the picks and everything. But I don't think 2 of those 3 picks were his fault. Obviously, he had some dropped ones, but ultimately, like you're expecting the ball to be in harm's way at least a little bit for a rookie. And I just think he has the prettiest ball out of all the rookies, in my opinion. And like obviously, it doesn't mean like you throw a pretty ball, it's going to translate to being a good quarterback. But we've seen how smart Penix is on the field. His processing is amazing. That was like his best thing coming out of the draft was his processing. And I just think combined with where he can put the ball almost anywhere on the field, he's smart. He's not slow. He's pretty mobile. And I just think like maybe sitting that like almost a full year really helped him because he came out and he looked NFL ready right away, which is a really, really good sign for a rookie. And I really liked him coming out of a draft originally, so I don't understand jumping off the train. I just really think that he's a great prospect, and I'm excited to see where he goes.
All right. Well, I guess I'm just going to get into my top 30 then.
Let's do it.
Number 30, I got Abdul Carter. He's going to be
Oh my-
26.
That low?
That's not that low.
I
Top
have
30 is really good.
I have him so much higher.
He's not like a generational prospect. He's just like the tier under that.
Well, you're going to be surprised where I have him.
Okay, 29, I got Trey McBride. He's going to be 30. Okay, Edgerrin Cooper is 28.
That's really low.
Okay, 27 is Derek Stingley. And 26 is Jahmyr Gibbs.
Okay. I mean, I've got every player of those players on my list besides McBride, but my 30 to 26 is completely different. So my 30 is Kyle Hamilton. My 29 is Travis Hunter, because he'll be 26. I've got Caleb Downs at 28. Honestly, I don't know a ton about Caleb Downs. I know he's like a generational prospect coming out this year, though. But how high can you really put a safety on total players? So I ended up putting 28. I've got Armand Membu at 27. I think that he's going to be a really, really good tackle. And then number 26, this is probably my most debatable one, but I think the way he plays is going to stick around. He's going to be 30, but I've still got Amon-Ra St. Brown on my list at 26.
Okay.
So let's talk about your list first. Trey McBride. What?
Trey McBride right now is like we're kind of pushing positional value to the side a little bit. Mine it's weighted, but it's not like completely like that. But he's definitely a top 40 player, maybe. But I think he's gonna get better. And tight ends, they don't fall off when they're 30. They fall off when they're like 34.
Yeah, but they still start to regress. They just regress a lot slower than other positions. I don't think he'll be in his prime anymore. And I think his prime
It's gonna be the back end of his prime.
I think if you're in your prime, it's debatable if McBride will be a top 30 player in his prime. And then you're arguing, well, when he's coming out of his prime, he'll be a top 30 player.
I think this will just be the back end of his prime. His prime might be the 25th best player, and I'm at 29. I really like McBride.
I know you're obsessed with him, but
I'm not obsessed with McBride.
I just think that if you had him in your honorable mentions, I would have been a lot more like, oh, I can see that. But I would never. I didn't even consider putting him on my list. Genuinely,
that's crazy.
But like, I only wanted so many tight ends on the list. Like, you can't have that many. But that's definitely interesting. How come you don't have Kyle Hamilton on your list? Or is he higher?
He's higher.
Okay, interesting.
So I mean like safeties are still valuable, and like. I mean, I have Gibbs on here. He'd be higher, obviously, with positional value. But I really like Kyle Hamilton, so I
have Gibbs quite a bit higher. The biggest shocker to me was definitely Abdul Carter there.
I mean, we haven't seen him play down in football.
No, yeah, but like that's like quite a few people on this list that we're assuming on.
But 30 is really good. Like,
but
people aren't going to understand how high 30 is.
I'll tell you right now, he's top 10 for me. Like,
what?
I think Abdul Carter is an insanely good prospect, and we had to take some shots on this list. We're gonna look back in a few years, and maybe Abdul Carter's a bust, and this is super embarrassing. But like, we had to take some shots here.
That's
and
crazy.
Abdul Carter's one of those players I can see breaking out to be a top 10 player in this league.
I guess I could see that, but also like, I'm trying to think of a pass rusher who's around 30.
Myles Garrett, T.J. Watt.
They're way above 30 right now.
T.J. Watt's 29, I think.
I mean, in the 30th in the league.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I think Abdul Carter can get up to those levels.
The level of Garrett and Watt?
Yeah, I really do.
That's crazy.
I think Garrett's been a little overrated in his career, to be honest. So I really think he can get up there. And I've got another pass rusher at 16. I've got another one at 11. So I've got quite a few pass rushers on here, and I put them very high because I think the pass rushers right now are actually getting quite stacked in the league. But that does really surprise me. Do you have Hunter higher? Is he higher than what you put? I think that Hunter's, while he's a great player, he'll play both sides of the ball. I think that will really hold him back from being the best player that he can be. I think if he focused just on corner, he'd be a lot higher. But I think he's going to play more wide receiver than corner, and I think that's going to hurt him in the long run, even though he's going to be an amazing player.
I mean, I think by that time, if he really is a better corner than receiver, which I think, he'll be playing more corner. Like, this is in 5 years. He'll have plenty of time to decide what he's best at.
Yeah, but he wants to play both sides of the ball. I don't think he's ever going to settle to play one side of the ball, and the Jags don't seem to care to want to play one side of the ball. So
I mean, I still think, like, if you are good enough at both, like, you're going to be a lot higher than you kind of should, if that makes sense.
And what about Membu? Do you have him higher? Just shocking to have him on the list.
He would have probably been one of my next honorable mentions.
Okay.
But
I think that's completely fair.
that this is, like, a bit high. I mean, he's not, like, a generational prospect or anything.
I mean, he's a great
blue
tackle.
chip.
Yeah.
But, like, I think he'll be good and, like, a very good player. And it was a great pick at 7, but I just don't see him being ever a top 30 player.
I mean, I think this is probably his ceiling at 27, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to hit it by any means. And then, am I forgetting one of your players that we have not talked about?
We haven't talked about Edgerrin Cooper or Derek Stingley.
Oh yeah, so Edgerrin Cooper, I thought I was gonna put him like lower than you, and I have him quite a bit higher on this. I know how much you love Edgerrin Cooper, but I don't like to talk about it too much because then you're like, oh yeah, he's amazing, and like I don't want to hear you talk about him, but like. He's a phenomenal player, and that was in his rookie season where he's playing half snaps for most of the year. I think he's going to be so unbelievably good in a few years, and in 5, you give him full time, and I really think he can play that Fred Warner role where he's on the field every snap, and he's just making a difference every single play. And I really think that he's going to be the best middle linebacker in the league in 2030.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he won't. I think he'll be top 3, but I don't know who. Like, if there's anybody in the league right now, I don't know who it would be. I think it's someone who's just going to break out above him just because. I don't know. But
yeah,
linebacker's a less valued position. Right now, if you're looking at Roquan, is not a top 30 player, and he's probably the second best linebacker in the NFL.
It's debatable to say he's top 30.
I don't think so. But anyway, so, like, getting here at 28, like, that's a really high praise for a linebacker for me. I think he's the only one on here.
Yeah, I mean, he's my only one on there, and I am quite a bit higher, but... I also, talking about Stingley for a second, I put him in my next group, so he's in the 25 to 20 range, but I think he's a phenomenal player, and he keeps getting better every single season. Obviously, that's going to stop. Eventually, you get so good it's not. But I think he's probably the third best corner in the league right now, and I don't think that's going to change just because he turns around 28. That's like the middle of his prime, like maybe the last year of his prime, but it's still at your prime, and so I have him a little bit higher just because I think, like, he's going to get even better this next season. He's probably going to cap out and just play that good for like 4 years. And I think that'll be one of the 4 years. So I think that he's going to be a top 25 player in the league. But like, obviously it's really close and nitpicky. And there's so many players that you have to move around. Do you have Amon-Ra on your list? Is he higher? Okay. I was kind of debating putting him on because I really, really, really like Amon-Ra. But it's like I have so many receivers on here already. The receiver talent is crazy right now in the league. And I didn't know what to do, but I feel like he's going to translate really well. He's a hard blocker. He's always going to be an amazing blocker. He's a great route runner. He finds the soft spots. He doesn't like put a ton on his body. Gets a lot of catches, so I could see him playing for a while.
I mean, he's super productive. He kind of plays similar to Cooper Kupp, who had his best season when he was like 30.
Yeah.
So, which is the age Amon-Ra will be. I think it'll translate really well. He's in my next group, so he's like, what is that? I don't have numbers on here, but I think that's like 23 or something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think he's this high right now, but I think he's going to continue to get better.
Interesting.
Even if this is probably where his ceiling is, I don't think he'll ever be.
I think I'd have him here right now, but I just don't know. I don't know. It'd be really hard for him to be better at 30 than he is in the starting his prime. Obviously, it's definitely possible. Like you said, he plays similar to Cooper Kupp, but I wasn't willing to bet on that, so I just kept him right where I would kind of put him right now.
And at number 25, I got Brian Branch. Then 24, Caleb Downs. 23 is Amon-Ra. 22 is Justin Herbert.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And 21 is Tristan Wirfs.
Wow. Okay. I'm really shocked by that. So my 25 is Creed Humphrey. 24 is Lamar Jackson. 23 is Derek Stingley. 22 is Brian Thomas Jr. And 21 is Trent McDuffie.
Okay, interesting.
So this feels like a loaded little section. Let's talk about Herbert first because that shocked me. So I actually think I might have forgotten to say him, but Herbert was also on my honorable mentions. Because I really like Herbert. I think he's a phenomenal quarterback and everything. It's really, like I said, quarterbacks are hard to put up there. I think there's going to be quarterbacks that take a step above him because there's so many good young quarterbacks right now. So I just ended up putting him honorable mentions. I'm utterly shocked that he's on your list because you hate Justin Herbert.
I don't hate him. I just think you overrate him. I don't think he's not a top 30 player right now.
Do you think he's going to keep getting better?
Like
Rodgers, exponentially better.
Rodgers, Stafford. He's a similar play style to them. And they got better as they went on. Like, Rodgers' best years were when he was, like, 36, 37, when he had those, like, amazing MVP seasons. Stafford won a Super Bowl when he was, like, 36.
No, so, I know. I agree with you. I'm just saying that you seem to hate him right now. And so...
Yeah, I think he'll be able to develop that clutch playoff gene that he definitely does not have right now.
It reminds me of Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning went, like, 0-5 in his first 5 playoff games.
But Herbert's actually been good.
In those playoff games.
Like early on.
Like
in the season, I mean.
One. Yeah, well, he's also been good in playoff games outside of this last one. Like the Jaguars game, he did play really well. There was just a lot of unfortunate events. And obviously, we still would have preferred to see him clutch up and do something. But it wasn't all, like, most of it was not his fault, like the Jags game and stuff. So I do see what you're saying. And I totally agree that he's going to get better. And I agree that he is going to be a great player in this league. I really think in 2030, like people really just don't want to say it for some reason, but right now the quarterbacks are so bad compared to what they used to be. The top of the league talent, and it's just not as good as what it was. But I think in 2030 we're going to be back to having amazing quarterbacks. I think this last year's class, not this current one that just happened, but the 2024 class saved the crap out of the quarterbacks. I mean, there was 5 quarterbacks that could be great players in a few years. You know,
JJ McCarthy. 6.
But I mean, 4 of it I literally think will be great players. So that's like unheard of in a quarterback class. So I really think that saved it. And I just think that in a few years we're really going to see a different side of of football. We're going to see a different style of football where we actually have that elite quarterback play on a lot of different teams. And so I can't put Herbert in the top 30 because I didn't put these other quarterbacks I think have a really good chance to be better than him even. Like I think you have so many guys that are going to be competing for a top 5 spot in those few years. And like I said, I don't like putting quarterbacks in the top 30 unless they're really good. And talking about quarterbacks, I'll talk about Lamar right now. I honestly wanted to put him higher. You probably have him higher. Only reason is that he's going to be 33. He's going to lose a step running. We know that. But I think he's an elite passer and people don't really see that. So I still put him in. And like 24 means a lot from me as a like quarterback, And so I think that he's going to be really freaking good still. It's just he's going to lose that step of running, so he's not going to be the best quarterback in the league anymore.
Yeah, I completely agree. He's my next group of people, so I'll just talk about him right now. He's obviously going to lose a step, but like we still see like rushing quarterbacks. They're still able to be a good rushing quarterback at an older age.
Just not as good.
Yeah, like Russ, like I know he's kind of fallen off a little bit, but like a couple years, like what is he now, like 34?
Yeah, he's getting old. I think he might be like 35 or 36.
35, but like when he was like 32, like he was still running really well, and he was not on the level of Lamar Jackson as a scrambler. And Lamar's arm talent is just, no one talks about how, like his arm is so strong, one of the strongest arms in the league. His accuracy is amazing. He's just developed all of his passing stuff since he came into the league so much that even if he's not able to be like one of the fastest players in the NFL, he's still going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, I mean, I would not be mad. Like you have him a little bit higher. I think that's completely fine. Just where you value quarterbacks. I mean, my list is a little strange because like I have 2 quarterbacks, around that top 10 range in the top 10 still, because I think there's a couple quarterbacks that have a chance to just go crazy, But I don't think Lamar's going to be the generational talent we see in him anymore. But I think he's going to be an elite quarterback. And then with Creed Humphrey, I'm guessing you don't have him on your list if you haven't brought him up. I think he's the best center in the league by a lot. And he's still pretty young at 25. And linemen don't regress at 30. So, like, especially not center. So I'm going to keep him there. I think he's going to be an amazing center still for them. Best center in the league. I have to throw him on as respect. And then, Derek Stingley we already talked about. Brian Thomas Jr., you probably think it's a little low for him. again, it's just the receiver rooms are so stacked right now. And I think Brian Thomas, while he, in my opinion, he had the best rookie receiver season this season out of all the great rookie receivers, but I don't think he's going to be the best rookie receiver. And I think there's a lot of young receivers that I think are going to take steps over him, even though he's going to be a phenomenal player still. 22, still really freaking good player. Like, you're a phenomenal player at this point. And then Trent McDuffie, you got him in your honorable mentions. I have a 21. I think he's a top 30 player right now. I think he's only going to get better. I think he's so unbelievably talented and underrated. They switched him from slot to outside this season, and I think that, like, people that don't watch the Chiefs that often, or maybe don't pay attention to corners, for some reason I'm like a corner nerd, and I watch corners like when I'm watching defense a lot of the time. I love watching corners play because I think it's the hardest position in football outside of quarterback by a long bit. And I think that when you see a good corner play, it's like so cool that you can see, like, they are so underrated athleticism wise. They're quick twitch and everything. And Trent McDuffie doesn't necessarily get picks, but he doesn't have to. He breaks up every ball that comes towards him, and he's just locked down, even though he's a little bit undersized. And I think that if he takes another step, like, it's gonna be unfair. Especially with, like, the Chiefs defense already being really good, and he's a huge, huge reason why, in my opinion.
Yeah. So a couple safeties we haven't talked about. Is Brian Branch in your top 30?
He's not in my top 30.
I really like Brian Branch. I've liked him since college. Really sad we didn't take him, but he's just such a phenomenal player. He can play slot, play safety. And he's like one of the best tacklers in the NFL, and I'd say he's around this range, if maybe a little bit lower right now. And I just think he's going to get better, and since he's not relying on top-end athleticism, it's not going to really matter when he gets, like, slightly worse, in my opinion. Yeah. It's going to be so much smarter as he, ages, that he's going to be, 28 at this point. So he's still going to be in that safety prime. So
yeah.
And then Caleb Downs, which we both don't know very much about.
Yeah, we don't know much about him, but he's going to be amazing, supposedly. So we got to put him in. Is there anybody else on this 5 that we haven't talked about, though?
Tristan Wirfs.
Oh, okay. How much higher for you? Yeah, I've got him quite a bit higher, actually. He's, in my opinion, the best pass blocking tackle in the league right now. I think that it's between him and Sewell, but I think Sewell's obviously a more complete tackle. But I think Wirfs, like, people kind of just forget about Wirfs, including myself. Like, when we talk about people, I'm like, oh, wait, yeah, there's that guy from the Bucs named Tristan Wirfs, and I just forget about that for some reason. But he's so good. I mean, he turns their line from, like, garbage to, like, good.
It's not garbage.
I mean, without him, it would be.
They just got solid talent all around him.
I think that he makes them look so much better than they are. Like, he's so unbelievably good, and he has been from the second he stepped into the league. I mean, he's still what? He's still 24, and he's this good. He'll only be 29. I think he deserves. He's gonna keep getting better. I mean, you're 24. You're gonna keep getting better.
I think he's 26.
Oh, really?
That's what mine thing says.
Oh, okay. Well, I might have gotten it wrong.
Well,
but
it doesn't matter. Still 31. You're still basically in your prime.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be a phenomenal talent. I think he's going to keep getting better too. I just don't see how he gets any worse. And obviously, I don't think that where you have him is, like, disrespectful or anything. Like I said, like I keep saying, like, just so many spots you could switch him. So I really think he's phenomenal though, and he's going to be great for so many years. Bucks got a great pick there, and I think they didn't draft until like 10, right? So usually tackles go a lot higher than that when they're that good. But anybody else? I think that's everybody in that group of people. Let's move on to 20 through 16. You want to take us away?
At 20, I have Justin Jefferson.
Okay.
Okay, and at 19, I got Travis Hunter. 18, I got Lamar. 17, I got Will Anderson. And 16, I got Jared Verse.
Oh, okay. I actually forgot about Jared Verse. I'm not going to lie. That's not a bad take. I don't know if I'd put him in here, actually, because of how many pass rushers I have. But I really, really like Jared Verse. I've liked him since he was coming out of college. Actually, let me give you my top 5, or my next 5 real fast. But at 20, I've got Sexy Dexy. At 19, I've got Puka Nacua. At 18, I've got Joe Alt. At 17, I've got Micah Parsons, and at 16, I've got Will Anderson Jr.
Okay, those are all in mine, but
yeah, just a bit higher.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Verse first. Obviously, I said I forgot about him and stuff, but I actually don't know if I'd put him on here. At least an honorable mention, deserved for sure. Phenomenal player, had a great year 1. I was really surprised people gave him his flowers because he didn't have a ton of sacks, and when people don't have a ton of sacks, they're like, you suck. But he was able to make an impact away from the sack numbers, and that's so much more valuable than people give it credit for. And so I think he's an amazing player. He's going to continue to get better. He is already 25, I think, right?
He's 24.
24 right now. I think he's going to turn 25 then. I think he came out the draft at 24. I could be wrong, but it's just that, like, obviously he'll already be what, 30? 30, 29, 30. So he'll still be like a really good player, don't get me wrong. But I don't know if I don't think he's on any of the level, he'll be on the level of any of these other guys that I have on my list, including guys like Abdul Carter. I actually, that's kind of crazy how much higher you have him than Abdul Carter, because I think he's a much better player or much worse player than Abdul Carter as a prospect. But
well, yeah, but like I've seen Jared Verse have high level play, and I have not seen that from Abdul Carter.
Yeah, but Abdul Carter has the ability to be a lot better of a player, and like I said,
I just think that like there's so much potential with Jared Verse just because he was not a good tackler this season. Like he missed so many tackles. True. If he can just refine that, like his stats would have looked so much better. And he had like a 25% pass rush win rate, which is phenomenal. It's up there with the best of the best. And like with these things, as you refine your game, like you're already good at them, you're gonna get better at them, and he's gonna be able to finish the plays. I think that this is. I'm surprised that he wasn't even on your honorable mentions.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely should have been. Don't get me wrong. I just totally blanked on him. But, yeah, I mean, he's a great player. Don't get me wrong. I love Jared Verse. I think Abdul Carter is going to be a better player in the long run.
Interesting.
By quite a bit than Jared Verse. But let's talk about who's your 20? I forgot.
Justin Jefferson.
Yes, I wanted to talk about him because he's not even on my list. I mean, you also agree that he's overrated as a player right now. I don't think he's going to get much better. I think he's in his prime right now. And I think that, was he going to be 30, 31? He's not on my list. I'm not 100% sure. But I think he's going to start coming out of his prime, if not already be out of it at this time. And I think it's arguable to say he's a top 30 player right now. And so if he gets worse, he's definitely not in my top 30. I just think he's extremely overrated. And obviously that's going to make people really upset. But what people don't realize is, like, there's so many receivers I take over him. Like, especially for 2030, there's so many receivers I take over him. I don't know. He has the best, whistle in the league for him. I know that's a basketball term, but, like, he gets the most flags thrown for him by far out of receivers. He gets so much special treatment, and I just think he's also in an offense that really, really helps him thrive in the statistical department. And he's a great player. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's not a good player. But I think he's, like, just barely cracking the top 30 right now, if at all. And so I don't understand how you could put him in the top 20 in 2030 when he's going to be worse.
He's just a great route runner, great hands. He doesn't rely on his athleticism too much. So, like, that's something I'm valuing when I'm, like, projecting these guys are going to be, like, 30. But he plays the Amon-Ra role better than Amon-Ra. Like, aside from blocking, in my opinion. Like, I just don't see... I know they're both going to age well, and Justin Jefferson's obviously the better player.
I disagree. I think Amon-Ra's a better player.
That's crazy.
I mean, if
Amon-Ra's kind of limited just because of how...
I think if you put Amon-Ra in the Vikings offense and you put Jefferson in the Lions offense, then their stats would be flipped. And I think that Amon-Ra will be able to perform even better than Jefferson does. That's
crazy.
He doesn't get the same scheming and volume that Jefferson does, or the same flags. I mean, it's insane how many flags that Jefferson is allowed to get just by getting blown on. Like, I've never seen a receiver get this much special treatment before.
But also, being on the Lions does help Amon-Ra. Like, people have to focus on Jameson Williams' deep speed. They have to focus on Jahmyr Gibbs. They have to focus on what Ben Johnson was doing to, like, get everybody scheming people open. Like, that's a really good situation that you're just kind of, like, saying, well, it's crowded and he's still producing, so we chuck him on the Vikings and he'd just be better than Justin Jefferson. That's crazy.
It's because you're looking at it with, like colored vision or something. Because, yes, it is crowded, yes, they have so many weapons that they have to look out for. One, if you're stopping the run, you're stopping the run. That it doesn't really have anything to do with Amon-Ra. They don't really... Also, you don't stack the box against Lions.
They need help with Gibbs in the pass game, too.
Yes, if he goes out for pass, but that's not the same people that would be looking at Amon-Ra, unless they're running like a flat zone, which they're not looking at Amon-Ra. I think that you can say, yes, they're looking at other people. First of all, I don't think that their weapons are like crazy, like Laporta and Jameson Williams cool. Like, that's really good to have as your second and third option. But, like, that's not like, oh my gosh, that's the reason Amon-Ra gets so much
but
help.
he also Jameson Williams stretches the field, which opens up Amon-Ra underneath.
Yeah, but they also do not scheme things for Amon-Ra very often at all. They scheme more plays for Jameson
They
Williams than
scheme
they
a
do for
lot
Amon-Ra.
for Amon-Ra, especially against the Packers. I swear that's like their whole plan.
I disagree. I think they go to Amon-Ra on the second read all the time, and he just is always open. If they scheme things, like Jefferson gets schemed for almost every single passing play. Almost every single one. It's insane how much they're looking at Justin Jefferson. And if they looked at Amon-Ra that much, I'm just saying he would have even better stats than Jefferson. And if you threw it to him all the time, like he's got incredible hands, better hands than Jefferson in my opinion. I think he's a better route runner than Justin Jefferson. He's a better blocker than Justin Jefferson. Like, I don't really understand what you want from him to get better than Jefferson, because I think he's better at almost everything than Justin Jefferson.
That's crazy.
He just because he's in a good offense, we just assume that like it's helping him and not hurting him whatsoever. But I think it is hurting him some. But I think it hurts more than it helps, in my personal opinion. You put him on almost any other team in the league, he's getting more stats, in my opinion.
Interesting.
But let's move on. Let's talk about Sexy Dexy for a second. You said you have him a little bit higher. He's going to be 31 in 2030.
Chris Jones is like 30.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be a great player. This is probably around where I'd have him right now, is the thing. And I don't know how much better he's going to get. 20? I think he's a really good player, but I don't know how much higher you can put him.
I think I'd put him higher.
Really? I don't know. There's a lot of really good players in the league, man. And, like, he is a phenomenal player. Don't get me wrong. Before he was getting hurt, he was, like, in probably the depoy running, right?
Mm-hmm. He was leading the whole league in stacks.
Yeah, but I don't know. Obviously, we can't just assume that would be kept up or anything, but I think that he is a phenomenal player, and I think 20 is, like, really respectful. I think, obviously, 20 is a really good player. I don't know how much higher you have him than me, but number 19, I also had Puka Nacua. Do you have him on your list? Okay, well, I think Puka's great. He's only 23 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Best body control in the league, great hands. He's in a great situation right now, too, to learn under Devontae Adams. He's continuing to learn with Matthew Stafford. I think he's going to continue to get better and be a top 20 player in the league in 2030 because he's going to be up there as a top 5 receiver for sure, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm guessing you agree since he's even higher than that. And then Joe Alt. Do you have Joe Alt on your list?
Yeah, I think so.
I hope so.
I meant to, at least. Did I have him really high or did I?
Bro does not have Joe Alt on his
No,
list.
I put him on here. He just disappeared.
Yep, that's how that works.
I'd probably put him probably like right with Wirfs.
Oh, okay, so lower than this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, interesting. I think Joe Alt's really good. He had an amazing rookie season, and then also he's only 21 years old still. Like, he's only going to be 26 in 2030. How crazy is that? That's actually insane to think about. And he's, like, already really freaking good, so I can't imagine how good he's going to get. He's obviously huge, just really good tackle. And then you have Parsons and Anderson on your list. I know you do.
Mm-hmm. Anderson's in this group.
Oh, you said Anderson for this? I think they're both really good pass rushers. Mm-hmm. I have Anderson one spot above Parsons, actually, because I think Anderson is showcasing how much better he can get. And I think that he's going to get even better this next year, and I can't wait. And he's also on the other side of Daniel Hunter. That duo is just unfair. And I'm really excited to see him continue because he's only 22 years old. Or 23 years old.
My thing says 24, but
bro,
I think he's probably 23.
My thing is really off. I think he is 23, but just really freaking good player, and I'm excited to see where he goes. But who else on your list have we not talked about?
We talked a little bit about Travis Hunter, so I don't think we really need to go over him again.
Yeah.
I think we talked about everybody then.
Okay, so let's move on to 15 through 11. You want to start us off?
Number 15, I got Patrick Surtain. Number 14, Ashton Genty. 13, Jeremiah Smith. 12, Micah Parsons. And 11, Dexter Lawrence.
Interesting. Okay, so 15, I've got Jahmyr Gibbs.
Well, that's pretty high.
14, I've got Edrin Cooper.
Whoa. I forgot we hadn't talked about him yet.
13, I've got Brock Bowers. 12, I've got Tristan Wirfs. And 11, I've got Aiden Hutchinson.
I think there's definitely some people that are in my top 10 that I don't know if you have.
Really?
Maybe we already just talked about them. I don't know. But
okay, let's start with Gibbs. The reason I put him as high is because I think he's already a top 3 back in the league. I think he's third behind the other 2 guys. And I think he's going to take over with Genty, who is a little bit higher on my list, as the top 2 backs in the league, arguably. So Especially if he can stay in this Lions offense. I think that's really going to benefit him. He showcased what he can do as an every down back. I think he averaged like 150 total yards a game without Montgomery. That is a top 15 player. If you're averaging 150 yards a game, obviously that's not going to stay up the whole season. That's not sustainable. But that is freaking good, man. Like, that is so freaking good. He showcased his ability. He's an incredible receiving back, but he's also one of the most, if not the most elusive backs in the league with just crazy good speed. So I don't know. I understand why you put him lower because he's a running back, but as a guy who doesn't take positional value as much on these types of lists, I wanted to put Gibbs a bit higher.
Yeah, I mean, but to be this high, in my opinion, you have to be like Saquon last year, like Christian McCaffrey the year before.
That's like top 2.
Yeah, but like
this
I'd
is
say that's like
completely
top 10.
different than top 2.
Not really.
Dude, McCaffrey and Barkley seasons were like historic level seasons.
Yeah, but like for a running back, like
I put him
Jahmyr
at 15.
Gibbs
It's
right
not like
now-
I put him in top 10 or anything.
like Jahmyr Gibbs right now is probably like the 30th best player.
Yeah, and I think he's going to get way better than what he is right now.
I don't know. I think he's kind of close
He's
to his ceiling,
23.
honestly. Yeah, I know. But running backs, they kind of. I'm not saying he's peaked. I think he'll be at this point for a while. But like also, there's a certain point.
I think he's got one more year to improve.
There's like a certain point where I just say like, you're this good, and I don't know if you're gonna get much better. But that's fine. I think obviously I had him like what 25.
Yeah, no, he's an amazing player still.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Edgerrin Cooper, I have him a lot higher than you. But if I think he's going to be the best middle linebacker in the league, I think he's going to fly over the field. I think he's going to make plays. I think he's getting coverage. He's good at everything. He's going to be amazing at everything, I think. And I think he's like, I'm honestly really sad he's on the Packers because I really freaking like Edgerrin Cooper. And I think he's going to be so unbelievably good in 2030. And people really don't see it coming for some reason. I mean, everyone like loved Edgerrin Cooper coming out of a draft, and then everyone just forgot about him as soon as he fell into the second round. So I don't really get it, but.
Yeah, and I'm gonna talk about Surtain a little bit, which I'm assuming you have like way higher because
Too
you're obsessed
low.
with him.
Too low.
15 for a corner, like not a corner. I mean like a 30-year-old corner.
Yeah,
like
but
in corners, you fall off so fast. I think this is like right before he starts like just falling off, because he's very athletic, which most people don't really talk about. But also like you're gonna lose multiple steps by the time you're 30. So there's gonna be a point where it's like he's really smart, but he also like knows he's athletic, so he, you know what I mean? Like there's a point where he's just gonna be like playing it way more safe and stuff, not able to make as many like havoc plays. You know, like I just don't think that he'll be a top 10 player by the time he's 30, which obviously when you're 30 and you've had like such a good career that he's going to have, it doesn't even matter. He's going to be obviously one of the best corners, but
well, I'll talk about him when I bring him up, but
yeah.
I kind of disagree in some senses, but I do get where you're coming from.
I mean, 15 is really high for a 30-year-old corner.
Yeah, I mean, he's a phenomenal player.
Okay, and then I have Ashton Genty. You said you had higher. Again, positional value, but this is like right where his peak is going to be, and I think he's going to fall off very quickly after this. So this is like the perfect sample, the perfect amount of years to go into the future if you like Ashton Genty, in my opinion, just because of how much work he's had.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, and then who else do you have on this?
Jeremiah Smith.
I have him much higher than this.
Really? It's hard for me to say. I've never watched you play in the NFL.
Yeah.
And have you higher. I also haven't scouted him. Like, I've seen Ohio State play. I've seen some highlights. But, again, like, I don't know how good he is.
I mean,
I've
yeah.
seen, like, obviously, yeah, just the highlights.
Well, we're taking shots with him, obviously. I took a really, 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 really big shot with him when you see him on my list. But I think it's kind of justified. Like, I've heard real NFL scouts, insiders, like guys that don't have anything to do with teams but are just like watch these players and report on them, and like every single one of them is insanely impressed, like just out of their mind. Like they can't even understand why he's so good at such a young age and how good of a prospect he is. And you know, guys like Mika Ibuka said immediately, first day of training camp, he was better than Olave, Garrett Wilson, Jack Smith, and Jigba, like immediately. Like these people that know the game of football, that are in there every single day watching Jeremiah Smith, every single one of them agrees that he is a generational, like above generational prospect. Like this is one of the best prospects we've ever seen play football. And he was a freshman. Like imagine what he's going to be when he's a junior, and then imagine what he's going to be when he comes in the league and gets all the NFL stuff. Like I think they're like, obviously we haven't seen what we need to see to know that. But from everything that we do know, and this randomness of just taking shots on certain players, that was the perfect guy to me to be like, that's who I'm taking a shot on. So I did put him a lot higher because I felt like I had to take at least a shot. Like one player that's not in the league right now is going to be top 5. I can almost guarantee that.
Now we know where he is.
Yeah,
yeah. I also have Micah Parsons on here. I mean, this is like right at the back end of the peak for pass rushers. Like Garrett and Watt are both around this age.
This is probably where I put him right now. Where do you have him?
Yeah, and then I got Dexter Lawrence, who's gonna be 32 at this point or 31, and like I think he's already. This is about where he is right now, and I think he's gonna maintain this throughout his career.
You really do love Sexy Dexy, but
Okay.
the other players, like I've got Brock Bowers. I'm sure you have him like way higher because you're obsessed with him. I think
he has charged.
I think he's amazing, but everyone above him is just insane or taking a shot. So I was like, he's just gonna be really, really freaking good, but I don't know where to put him, so I just stuck him at 13. 12, I've got Wirfs. I've already talked about him. And then 11, I've got Aiden Hutchinson. I'm guessing you have him higher. I hope, or maybe he's not on the list. That would be awful, but he was insane at the beginning of last year before he got hurt. Obviously, this is assuming he comes back and is fully healthy this season. Are we sure that's going to happen? No, but we really hope so. And then he's just going to be a phenomenal player, keep getting better. He's only going to be 29, so, or maybe 30. Really freaking good player, though. And so I'm really excited to see what he becomes. But let's move on to 10 through 6.
Okay, at number 10, I have a guy you've already talked about.
Oh.
The first group, I got Kyle Hamilton.
Whoa.
I think he's got potential. This is another one I'm taking a shot on. I think he has potential to be one of the best safeties of all time.
Okay.
Just like the build, how good he already is. He's gonna be 29. So
okay.
Right there.
Yeah, that's valid.
Yeah, I think that he's gonna be one of the best safeties of all time. And then
I
you
like
get
that
this
shot.
at the back end of the prime. I don't know. I just feel like he's gonna have so much respect from everybody else at this point that having him this high
is gonna seem low.
Yeah, maybe it could.
That's a really
Definitely
cool
could.
take. I like that take.
Then I got Brian Thomas.
Wow, very
That's
high.
really high, yeah, I know. And then Penei Sewell, Puka Nakua,
Oh,
and Brock Bowers.
very high for Puka as well. I'll go through my at number 10. I've got Marvin Harrison Jr., who's not
Whoa,
on
he's
your
not on my
list,
list.
which is crazy. Number 9, I have Arch Manning.
He's also not on my list.
We'll talk about him. It's just a shot, obviously. But at number 8, I've got Ashton Genty. Number 7, I've got Patrick Surtain II. And number 6, I have Jalen Carter. Who is he on your list?
Yeah.
So you got him top 5. Okay.
He's 5th.
So I'll talk about Harrison first. Marvin Harrison, I'm expecting him to break out this year. I've talked about it in multiple videos. Really think he's going to be above a 1,200-yard receiver this season. Huge, huge breakout. And I think that he's going to continue getting better. This is a generational prospect, and I think because he had a down rookie year with a terrible connection with his quarterback, and not great scheming for him, I think that we just forget he was a generational prospect. The stars didn't align his rookie year, and we've seen that with so many players that just break out after that. And I think that for some reason, I think if he wasn't in this class, then we would predict him more to just be this amazing player and stuff. But I think the reason people are forgetting about him is because he's overshadowed by guys like Malik Neighbors, like Brian Thomas Jr., like Lad McConkey, like all these guys that had incredible rookie wide receiver seasons. So while he obviously hasn't shown that he's that generational prospect we thought, he's shown flashes of it, and I think that's what's important. And I saw a video yesterday. He's bulking, he's going crazy, he's huge now. I think that he just has all the tools that you could ever want in a prototypical number 1 receiver that's just really freaking good. And I think he's going to be a top 10 player in the league in 2030 if all the stars align. I really think they could. I think this year they're really going to try to look into making him the special player that they thought they were getting at 4 last season.
I mean, yeah, it's a shot worth taking, I guess.
Not even on your list is crazy.
I can totally see a world where he's just not that good.
No, yeah, I mean if he
like-
plays like his rookie year.
And he also, being a top 50 player and not making my honorable mentions, that's still really good. Like, you guys have heard the players that we have on this list, which some of them you might not agree with, but a lot of them, you're surprised they're that low just because of how much talent is in the NFL right now,
Yeah.
especially young talent.
No, I 100% agree. And that's why, looking back on this in 5 years, it's going to be hard because it's I'm not expecting to get any spot right, even the range. What I want is just to get as many players on the list as possible, right? I don't care where they are. My number 1 could be number 26. I'll count it as a win, bro, because it is so hard because of all the players. There's so much talent. Sorry, but there's so much talent, and it's this player at 10, he's so close to number 30. You know what I'm saying? Because of all the talent. So don't take the numbers with a grain of salt almost, because we are saying we're going to think this guy's a little bit better than this guy, but it's not I think Marvin Harrison's going to be exponentially better than Kyle Hamilton, who I had at the bottom, if that makes any sense. But number 9, let's talk about Arch Manning. The reason I have him on here is because I felt like I had to take a shot with a quarterback. There's got to be somebody. And Arch Manning has shown all the signs. I really liked him. I love that he's getting coached by Peyton. I mean, it's an unfair advantage to get coached by Peyton Manning your entire life. Like, let's be honest. And I think that he's got all the physical tools. He's a Manning with legs. Like, he's super athletic. When he's come in for Texas, he's looked really good at times. And, I'm really excited to see him play this season. Obviously, we don't really know anything about him. NFL level, even college level, we haven't got to see him play very often at all. So this is just a complete shot in the dark. We all know that. But, I could really see it happening. I mean, Arch is a big name for a reason. I could really see him just coming out and being insane. And obviously you didn't put him on your list because we don't know anything about him. But he is my second to last quarterback. I have one more quarterback on here.
Only one.
Yeah. You have multiple
I have
left?
two.
Okay. Oh, you have Drake May still. I forgot about him. I forgot you have him.
I think I have Drake May on
I know
here?
you have Drake May. But, yeah, so Arch Manning, obviously, he could be a not even top 100 player. And I would not be, completely surprised.
I'd be shocked. I think there's a higher chance he's not a top 100 player. And I don't think that's a hot take at all. I was looking through I obviously wanted to take a shot, too, on a quarterback who's not in the NFL. I was considering him, DJ Lagway, and then Lenora Sellers. And I just, watched them, and I was like, they're pretty good. But
there's no way to tell.
Yeah, there's just, I just went away, and I'm like, all three of these guys could be top 15 players, but I don't really want to waste a shot on them. There's so many players I just wanted to put in the list.
Well, it's also hard because you have to see a quarterback in their junior year specifically, or the last year before they come into the NFL, because the difference between their last year and their first year is always humongous for good quarterbacks. At least let's take Joe Burrow for example. He wasn't even playing really before that, and then all of a sudden his senior year or junior year he just shot up because he had an incredible season when he got the chance. And I could really see Arch being a very similar type of player, but obviously you didn't want to waste a shot, and I respect that. Talking about Pat Surtain for a second. You brought up how they fought their prime really fast and stuff, and that is true. The way Surtain plays, you're talking about how he won't be able to make as many havoc plays. I actually don't think Surtain plays that way. He kind of plays in a way where he doesn't bait the quarterback.
He also, havoc plays for deflections and stuff.
Yeah, I know, but while he's very good at deflecting the ball if he's thrown at, usually he's just not thrown at. As a fan who's watched every single play for the last 2 years, he just doesn't get thrown the ball because there's no reason to. When you could just throw it to the other side of the field and have a way better chance of completing it. I really do think that by 2030 we're going to be talking about him as an all-time corner. I mean, he's already won a DPOY. There's an argument to say that you could start talking about him because of that DPOY alone. And if you think about these all-time corners, a lot of them do play the bait game. Let's think about Champ Bailey, another Bronco all-time great. Deion Sanders, they played the bait game where they were using their athleticism to bait a quarterback into throwing a ball by acting like they were further off than they were and then twitching and picking it off. That's not how Surtain plays, though. He plays very much, I'm going to lock you down and make them look the other way. You're not throwing the ball over here. And I think that's similar to a guy like Revis, who everybody really likes. But I think that's going to hold up better than playing athleticism-wise. And he's so good that I want to put him here. Obviously, as a Broncos fan as well, I have to put him here. But I think that since he plays that way, it's going to hold up better because it requires less athleticism than playing a different way. And he uses his smarts so much more than people realize. I love watching clips about how smart he is on the field, but I think that also holds up. That's something that doesn't go away, obviously, when you get older. So I think that he could honestly, legitimately be a top 10 player in 2030 still.
That's crazy.
And if he is, then obviously he's an all-time corner. So, but and then lastly, my last player before we go back to yours, Jalen Carter. You have him higher. He's so
higher,
yeah, he's so unbelievably good. And honestly, I think he's underrated right now. I don't ever hear people talk about him, to be honest. But big reason why the Eagles just won the Super Bowl. Their D-line, their edge rushers aren't even that good. They're good, but they're not crazy. And the big reason for that is Jalen Carter provides so much pass rush from the interior. Great in the run game, great at everything. It's exactly what you need, and he's only going to get better from here on out. But let's go over your players that were in this range as well.
Okay, so we haven't really talked much about Brian Thomas Jr. I think he has amazing potential just because he's so fast. He's able to get downfield and get open downfield. There's so many plays when we were watching Mac Jones throw to him where it just felt like he was open 50 yards downfield every drive, at least once, and you just miss him, and it was so frustrating. And he's just going to be a guy who can take over games, just be the go-to guy. Obviously he's not going to be a super high volume guy, but I think that's what Travis Hunter is going to be for this team if he ends up playing receiver. That kind of play style, the underneath guy, who's going to really unlock Brian Thomas even further, in my opinion.
I just think that Brian Thomas, like the reason I obviously think he's an amazing player. 22, again, I've said it so many times, like it doesn't mean he's bad. It means he's incredible still. But I think that, like you said, I think the reason I can't put him this high is because he's not the high volume receiver.
Yeah, I get that.
He's more of a deep threat than anything, and while like he's so good at it, and like he's better than just a deep threat. Like I don't want to just put that on him. Ultimately, like a spoiler, Malik Neighbors is still on my list to come. He's higher up than this.
You made your list?
Malik Neighbors? You're joking, right? Okay. I was like, what? But I think Malik Neighbors has a lot more potential to be a better receiver than him because of his play style specifically, especially in the public eye. But I don't disrespect you putting him this high. And who else have we not talked about?
Penei Sewell. Have you talked about him?
He's a little bit higher on my list. I think he's the best tackle in the league.
Interesting. I kind of just didn't
He's not
give
that
credit
much
to
higher.
linemen. Like that's just like I don't care about linemen.
They're
kinda
so
lame.
important.
Yeah, I know, and like obviously, a lot of hardcore fans like are like, "Ooh, linemen, I love them," but like it's like for me, you have to be so good at linemen, which I think Sewell is for me to put you on here. There's so many like elite tackles that are just not like this elite. You know what I mean? Like I'd say Zach Tom's elite, but I didn't really consider after I spent 2 minutes on this list. I was like, yeah, he's not even gonna make an honorable mention. Or like, what are some other tackles like Andrew Thomas or like I don't know why he came to mind, but like tackles like that. There's so many super good tackles that just aren't game changing, which is why I kind of like lowered everybody and only had 2 linemen on this list. But yeah, he's just such a good run blocker. And like obviously now he's been a lot better pass blocker the last few years since he moved back to the right side.
Yeah, no, I think that completely makes sense. I only have him one more spot. I have him at 5, just to spoil that. But I think that he's so ridiculous, and like he's just amazing at everything. So I had to put him up here, and I put a little bit more respect on lineman, I guess. But I had to put him up here. Is there anybody else we didn't talk about?
Puka Nacua.
Yeah, you just talked about him a little bit. But.
I mean, he's just like does everything at such a high level that I don't really know. I just like think he's a player who's not even close to his ceiling. I think he can just get better every year. Like right now, I'm probably lower on Puka, despite being like I was probably one of the biggest Puka fans coming out of the draft. We sadly didn't have the podcast then, so I don't have clips of me saying that. But I really liked Puka Nacua, obviously as a BYU fan as well. But I think that he's going to be able to get better as his career goes on, and he doesn't rely on his high-end athleticism, which is like kind of underrated, his athleticism, but that's not the big point of his game. Obviously, like body control, hands, getting open, he just does everything so well that I just maybe this is a little bit high, but like I don't know.
It's
really
definitely
like
a little high, but he's
Yeah.
a phenomenal player. I mean, that was it, right?
Yeah,
Okay, so you want to give us your 5 through 1?
I think I miscounted. So my 5 is Jalen Carter apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, my 6 is Jalen Carter.
Oh, okay.
I miscounted somewhere since I didn't put.
So
the
we have him
numbers
at the
there.
exact same spot.
Yeah. Well, anyway, 5 is Aiden Hutchinson, who
Wow.
we had a lot lower.
Wow.
Interesting. 4 is Malik Neighbors.
Okay.
3 is Jamar Chase. You don't have him on there?
No.
Oh my gosh, dude. Oh. Oh, okay. 2, Drake May.
Oh my God.
Who's number 1? Let's hear your guess.
Joe Burrow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. I didn't think you'd predict that.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay, let's hear yours.
Okay, so obviously I blanked on Jamar Chase, which is so embarrassing. I don't think he'd be that high though.
Really?
How young is he?
He's going to be 30 this time.
Yeah, and he's so athleticism reliant. I mean, his main part of his game is yards after catch. So I think that I'd have him like honestly all the way down, like probably near 17. Like
Wow.
I just think he's gonna take a step back. But I have number 5 Penei Sewell, number 4 Malik Neighbors, number 3 Abdul Carter,
What?
and number 2
No.
number
He hasn't played.
number 2 Joe Burrow,
Oh no.
and number 1 Jeremiah Smith.
Is that real?
Yeah, this is real.
Dude, we haven't seen 1 or 3 play in the NFL.
Well, these are taking a shot for a reason.
Oh.
Okay,
I don't get
Jeremiah's-
the Abdul Carter one.
Jeremiah Smith we already talked about. Joe Burrow, let's talk about him because you had him at 1. Like that's really high. I think his game is going to keep improving. Like
Yeah, like similar to Herbert
he
West.
plays perfect though. And he's already probably a top 10 player in the league right now.
Easily.
Yeah, and like I would put
Especially when you're like, obviously everybody's going to value quarterbacks. He's
yeah.
easily.
Well, I'd
top
put
10.
Lamar top 10 even with my value thing. Like I'd put him like probably top 5 right now. And I think that I put Lamar only down at 24 because I think he's going to take a step back because of his play style. But Burrow's going to get even better, so I don't hate putting him at 1 at all. But 2, I had to put him 2 because I think Jeremiah Smith is that good from everyone's talking about him. Obviously, I have to watch him, but like he really could be that. Like there's a real chance that he's that. So I put him there. Abdul Carter, you were hating on Abdul Carter.
I'm not. I swear. Like this is like crazy.
No, Abdul Carter's so good.
So like, but Jared Verse, you didn't have him on your list, and he's shown us
but I forgot about Jared Verse.
potential in his rookie year. He's played 1 year. He's young. He's going to be in his prime at this point. He's shown you so much in that 1 year, and you haven't seen anything from Abdul Carter.
Yeah, but I forgot about him.
No, but you wouldn't have put him above Abdul Carter.
No.
Yeah, obviously not.
But
like,
I think Abdul Carter has way more potential than Verse. Like way
I
more.
wouldn't go way more. But
I
Abdul
think Carter's going to be so good. He's only played 1 year pass rusher.
Yeah, I know, but
And he's already like he was by
I
far
feel like
the
you
best
should have been
pass rusher.
glazing him more in the pre-draft process.
I kept saying he was generational, and you guys were like, I don't know about that, but then you just move on.
Yeah, but you never were like, I think he has potential to be a top 3 player in the NFL.
He does. This is
That's
obviously a
crazy.
super long shot, but
That's
I thought
crazy.
you were telling me I was gonna hate your list, and you were gonna take like super long shots. I don't feel like you have any super long shots on your
I
list.
do. Drake May too.
Yeah, I mean, but I expected that. Like,
That's crazy. You expected.
well, that's how much you glaze him.
I don't glaze him.
Yes,
Are
you
you
do.
surprised Bryce Young didn't make my list?
No, I knew he wouldn't because I knew you're not that dumb. But I thought that Drake May would be top 5 for sure. 2's a little bit higher than I expected, but
I mean, I kind of just see like the top players in the NFL right now. If I'm doing my top 100, I'm doing positional value at least to some extent. Lamar's number 1,
yeah, no, I 100%.
and
agree.
Burrow might be. Burrow's easily top 3.
If I'm
or
valuing
top
quarterbacks,
4.
they're both top 2 in my opinion.
Yeah. So like I'm just saying like the best players in the NFL are always quarterbacks. So I was just like, who else will I project to be high? And I was like, obviously Drake May. You know?
You will love Drake May, but we both agree on Malik Neighbors. Obviously, we talked about him. He's incredible.
You have Abdul Carter over Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Aiden Hutchinson was
It's
so good
Hutchinson,
last year.
not Hutchinson.
What did I say? What did you say?
It's Hutchinson.
Hutchinson.
No, it's Hutchinson. There's no
No.
G.
Oh, you're right.
But
That's so annoying.
just so people are aware, because I know I'm sorry I forgot people. Chase, I'd probably put one spot above Bowers, so probably 13. That's where I put Jamar Chase. And then for Verse, I'd probably put him on the list. I'd probably put him like down like 28, 29 area.
generous.
What?
I'd probably put
But
him
just
on
so
my
people are aware, my
list.
2 that I forgot, like I would put those people on, move everybody else down one.
Did I forget anybody?
I don't
think I did.
I don't think so. I mean, you definitely should have put Martin Harrison on there if you're taking any shots.
That's a shot you could take, but I didn't.
I don't know.
I'm not a Martin Harrison guy.
I obviously took a lot more huge shots than you,
I'm surprised. I don't know. I thought you'd be more safe.
but that's not fun. Like we're looking
Yeah.
back on this, and we're not going to be close. Like we know
You
we're
think
not.
so?
I know we're not going to be close. No
What
one's
if-
ever close.
I could be pretty close.
I don't think anyone's ever going to be close. So I was like, let me just take a few shots. Let me see what happens. And you know what? If Abdul Carter sucks, it's going to be really funny.
Oh my god.
But I really think I mean, again, we talked about this so many times. All 30 of these players have the potential to be anywhere on this list. Almost every single one has any potential to be anywhere on this list. These players are going to all be insane, most likely. Besides, like, Arch Manning obviously could probably not be good. There's a really good chance of that. But, like,
There's a lot of chance any
almost-
of these guys could be bad.
yes, but I think that, these players are all here for a reason. They're all insane in their own right. And, like, don't get too offended if your favorite guy is 14 instead of 12. Like, it's not a big difference at all. So,
Or 14 instead of 4.
yeah.
It's not as big of a gap as you think.
Yeah, I honestly think the gap between 3 and 20 is not that big. Mm-hmm. Like it's really like if one guy has one more good half a season than the other guy, then like you can put him above him. Like that's how close it is. So I think that we talked about that so many times though. They get it by now. But is there anybody else you want to talk about before we head out?
I mean, we haven't really talked about Drake May at all.
I mean, we talked about him a little bit. I mean, we're surprised by it. If you guys watch this podcast at all, McKay's obsessed with them.
I'm not obsessed.
yes,
but
you
I
are.
just think
You have him at 2, McKay.
he's going to be 28. Quarterback prime right there. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to get a quarterback, preferably from that draft class. It's like Drake May's my favorite one. Next up, there's just not like another guy. Like obviously Daniels is up there, but like I don't think it. I think he's gonna be his peaking in like year 3.
Interesting.
That sounds really rude, but like that's just kind of how I see his career going.
Daniels?
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
but Drake May, he's got so much talent, so much arm talent, can put the ball anywhere. if he can just fix his processing and accuracy a little bit, he could actually be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL a lot sooner than people think.
Yeah.
And obviously Joe Burrow, he's only going to be, 33? So
I think that you want to talk about taking more shots. I have one more shot I want to say before we go. Joe Burrow, I think, will be an all-time quarterback and start entering.
that's not a shot.
It is because
I think he will be,
like
too.
I think he will be a top 5 quarterback of all time when his
Okay,
career's
that's a bit
done.
crazy. I'd probably go
And
top 12.
I think 2030 he will start entering the top 10 conversation if he's not already.
Got to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I
And
think
I don't think he's doing that soon, like with this Bengals.
yeah, I mean that's true, but you never know what can happen in 5 years.
And also, Jamar Chase being 3, a lot of that is because I'm kind of parlaying him with Joe Burrow.
That's
If
fair.
Burrow is this good and Jamar Chase is playing with him the whole time, they got that connection. I just think Jamar Chase is going to be really high.
I don't see him being better in 2030 than he was this year though.
Well, yeah, but like right now, this year,
I wouldn't
He's
put him
top
third.
3?
No. If you count quarterbacks, if you count Lamar and Burrow as 1 and 2, then Saquon's above
Saquon?
him.
I guess. But maybe I'm
So,
just like,
you
but
putting
there's
him higher.
also like certain players that are going to be in the top 10 who we haven't heard of.
Yeah.
So like right now,
So that's why I'm
these
pushing
top 10
Chase. That's why I'm pushing Chase down to like 13.
I don't
But
know about that.
again, that's not a huge difference if you
I
really
didn't
look
even
at
put
it.
him on the list.
Yeah, I forgot. But that's
so embarrassed.
that's what you've got to realize is that's not even a big difference. But I mean, that's ridiculously high. The reason I'm not like overreacting, so I'm not surprised. But like, it's still ridiculously high. I think Nick is going to be better from what we've seen,
Oh, that's a hot take right there.
and I think that Penix has potential to be better. So
that one's crazy.
So I really think that, I don't know, like he was on my honorable mentions for a reason. May's a great player. He's going to be a great player. I like May a lot. Acting like he's going to be a top 2 player in the league, though, is crazy. I don't even know if he's going to be a top 5 quarterback in the league. That's going to be tough. I think that's his ceiling is like top 5. I don't really see him being, arguably the best quarterback in the league. That's kind of crazy. So,
I don't think it's as crazy.
but I know you're like obsessed with him, so I'll let you have it. Anybody else you want to talk about before we get out of here?
I don't know. Maybe we should take a couple shots.
A couple of shots and players not on the list.
It's Lenora Sellers.
That's who you think is going to be amazing.
I think he's the best out of the 3.
I think James Pierce Jr. could be on this list one day.
Could be.
Yeah.
You should have thought about him.
Yeah.
I should have looked at my big board. But like, I didn't put Mason Graham. He was 5.
I think that Loveland and Warren also could have gotten an honorable mention. They have a chance.
But Trey McBride just had like 1,200 yards this year, and you didn't even care.
Yeah, but I
So
think
I
they can
just
be
don't
better.
think.
I think he also gets like tons of volume.
Yeah, but he gets open a lot and makes big plays.
That's true. That's true. I think they need to throw Harrison the ball more than him, though.
No.
Him and Harrison will be a deadly duo, though, in 2030.
Hopefully.
So maybe, but I think that's everything we got for y'all today. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Make sure you go down, sub, like the video, comment down below. Really, really would appreciate it. And yeah, have a good one, guys.